Welcome to Smart Went Crazy Podcast. We are back. What up?
Hello.
Back in the building, me and Joe. How's it going, Joe?
It's going good, Neil. How are you?
Good. As you see, we're not in the same room right now, but, we got Google Hangouts, so anything's possible. Technology.
It sure is.
So we got a quick little introduction show for season 2. We got a few things we want to discuss. Nothing crazy, nothing long, just for a little bit. We're going to run down a few things, talk about some NFL stuff, the Trump tax plan, net neutrality, the opiate epidemic, and all these allegations that are coming out. I don't know. What do you want to start off with, Joe?
Why don't you start off with net neutrality? You know what? I'm kind of interested to hear what you have to say about that because I'm a little bit in the dark with that.
All right, so net neutrality is the craze right now on the internet. Everyone's losing their minds. The FCC had a vote whereas they favored to remove net neutrality. Net neutrality was a law passed a couple years ago that allowed the internet to stay fair to small businesses, and so that there's restrictions on people like Time Warner or big huge companies that can use all their money to make fast lanes for themselves, so that they can charge whatever they want for the cost of internet. Net neutrality laws were put in place to prevent those things, so that everybody can share basically bandwidth and all that stuff. It's kind of confusing. I'm not an expert about it, but I do know that it did, because the FCC voted on it. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's in effect yet. So it still has to go to the House. It still has to go through Congress and all that. I have good faith that it's not going to go through, just because the people of the United States, for example, are livid right now. This is not a partisan thing. People think it's the Republicans did this. This is all Trump. It's not at all. The FCC chairman, Ajit Pai, is a Republican, and there are more Republicans that are, for whatever reason, favoring this thing. I don't know why. But yeah, that's definitely, I can't deny that. But yeah, Ajit Pai, the FCC chairman, I just wanted to run down. I got a quick video I want to show everybody of this guy. And it's a 1 minute long video, and it's hilarious. To me, it was hilarious. Most people who saw this video were pissed off. I thought it was funny just because how cringy this guy is, how he's talking about net neutrality in a good light, as if this, for some reason, could be a good thing for us. So let me find that for you, and I'm going to run it, and here it is.
Hi, I'm Ajit Pai. I'm the chairman of the FCC. Recently, there's been quite a bit of conversation about my plan to restore internet freedom. Here are just a few of the things you'll still be able to do on the internet after these Obama-era regulations are repealed. You can still gram your food.
Yo, look at this guy. He's acting like it's all good. Don't worry. We're going to take your freedom away. No big deal.
Quality. Are you selfieing or just... You can still post photos of cute animals, like puppies.
Oh, don't worry. We're just going to charge you $1 million.
You can still shop for all your Christmas
photos
presents
of your
online.
It's all good.
Got that bulk deal on fidget spinners. Yes! Those Eclipse glasses are so cheap!
Oh my God, I cringe so much when I see that part at the end where he's holding the fidget spinner. It's like, you're really gonna hold on to a trend like that to make this look like this is a good thing? Like, really, dude? Like, we're not, like, we're all, like, are we idiots? people watching this video, are we idiots? Like, I don't get it. Joe, I don't know if you saw that video. I don't know if you could see it on your end, but like, basically, we were just the chairman, Ajit Pai. He made this video. He posted it to YouTube. It went viral. I think he knew it was going to go viral. I think this dude just is money grabbing right now. He made this video. It went viral, and it was basically him acting all cheerful about, oh, don't worry, net neutrality will be fine. You'll still be able to post pictures of your dog. You'll be okay. Even though they can jack the prices up on the internet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. What do you feel? We'll move on from this. I don't really want to get too much into it. Like I said, this is a quick show today. But what do you got anything you want to add to that?
Oh, man. There's so much that I want to add to what's going on in this world today. But, first and foremost, how's everybody doing?
I don't have the chat pulled up right now, but I could get that. You know what?
No, I
see.
Got a few people watching.
That's cool.
So that's what's up.
Yeah, give me a second to get to the chat. I don't have the chat pulled up yet, but I'm about to have it right now. So if anyone's, we got Jessica Wagner says, "How are you both doing?" I'm doing good, Jessica. Thanks for asking. How about yourself? And yes, we are going to talk some football. Joe and I got some clips from some highlights from Sunday. So we're going to go over that. Joe and I are big Steelers fans. Obviously, my Bills come first, but I'm a Steelers fan because they've been good for so long, and it's like, I don't know. I just always they're my fallback team. This year the Bills are still in it, so obviously that's my team right now. But if all hell breaks loose, I'm jumping right on the Steelers like I always do. I've been a fan since the Steelers since like 2003, since like pretty much when Big Ben came around. I started watching the Steelers. I don't know. I just like the team. I like their history. I like Franco Harris. I like Lynn Swann, John Stallworth, Coach Chuck Noll. They're just such a Mean Joe Green. They were like the team of the '70s. Jack Ham. I don't know. I just like the team. But Joe, where do you want to go next? I got the list on the right on the right of the side of the screen. We don't really have to go in order. We already got net neutrality out of the way. We could go to the tax plan, NFL, whatever you feel like going to next. Let me know.
Let's talk about Steelers.
Talk about what? Steelers?
Yeah, let's talk about the Steelers.
All right, so a crazy game on Sunday with the Steelers and the Patriots. This is a little rivalry nobody really talks about. It's not a divisional game, but it's almost like Brady Manning. Maybe not as hyped, but like Big Ben has been around for a long time. He's got multiple Super Bowls. How many games in the playoffs have the Steelers lost their whole season to the Patriots? So I look at this game as like, it's always one of the big games that you see every couple of years, but it came down to the wire. Before we get into anything, I want to show a clip. I got a clip of the game here. Let me show a clip of the Steelers. One of the last plays of the game. It was a controversial play. It was called no catch. Let's roll that. 1 second. Sorry about that. A little glitch there.
Exactly right. I mean, does he maintain control right here? He's got to maintain possession. Does that bobble is? Oh, guys.
So yeah, that was that. Joe, go ahead. Take it away.
I think that the Steelers were absolutely 100%, absolutely 100%, 1,055 million% robbed.
Yeah, dude.
Of their home field advantage. As far as I'm concerned, that was a catch in high school football, college football. That is a catch. As you can see by the clip, His hands are way underneath that ball, protecting that ball from hitting the ground. He had control on the way to the ground. He had control while it was on the ground. It was just absolutely insane. I'm just very upset about the outcome of that game. And as far as I'm concerned, that was a bunch of bullcrap.
Yeah. You know what I was talking about? Because right after that game, the next game that came on after that was the Cowboys and the Raiders, and it was pretty much a similar outcome. The Raiders got robbed by the Cowboys, and I came to the conclusion that this league has it has a very biased lean towards owners like Bob Kraft and Jerry Jones. All right, so real quick, I hate to switch subjects, but yeah, you're right, Joe. That was robbed. They got robbed. That was a catch all day long. But the Raiders game, if anyone watched the Raiders game after that, the last drive that the Cowboys had to get down the field, it was short. They didn't get the first down, in my opinion, but the ref came in, they moved the chains up, the ref takes a folded piece of paper. Now mind you, here's perfect example, right? Here's a folded piece of paper, right? Now, you're supposed to take a piece of paper and put it in between the ball and the marker to see if it touches, then it's a first down. But if you have a folded piece of paper, that gives you extra depth. Now, I know he had it like this, okay? I'm not going to get too conspiracy on you. He had it like this, but still, you should never have a folded piece of paper in your hand. If you're gonna mark a first down, you got to do it right. So, you know what I mean? It was like, what is he doing? Like, what the? I don't know. But yeah. I mean, it was crazy. Bob Kraft and Jerry Jones, man, they got their ways. They got their ways of making games go their way.
I mean, it is what it is, dude. I really didn't watch the Raiders game. I was so upset about the Steelers game and the Pats game that I really didn't pay attention to it. But I'd like to address another thing here. You know, at the beginning of this show, we had a discussion about who was the best running back and wide receiver in the NFL.
Yes, we did. I don't forget stuff like that. We put it on the board.
And at that time, you had said David Johnson.
I did.
Was the best.
Yeah, I didn't know he was going to get hurt.
Okay. Let me put it to you like this. Okay. Le'Veon Bell was suspended for 4 games and came in second last year.
Yeah.
Now, assuming that you took David Johnson's stats from last year and put it against Le'Veon Bell's stats this year because they played all 16 games or 17 games, 17 or 16 game season. Le'Veon Bell is clearly the better runner. Clearly,
I mean,
can't be. This discussion is not up for a debate.
No, that's up for debate. Last year, David Johnson had over 2,000 plus yards from scrimmage.
So, what are you talking about?
No, I'm not saying Le'Veon Bell isn't doing that right now, but I'm saying you can't. It's not just it's not up for debate. I mean, David Johnson is a guy who came out of nowhere and just was blowing up the scene. Like, but I mean, you know what? I'll give you that one. Le'Veon Bell is outperformed, and he's proven your point for this year. I mean, who knows what could happen next year? David Johnson can come back, but right now it doesn't look so good. Usually after a season, when you're out for a whole year like that, you don't usually come back and tear it to shreds. So I'm going to give you that, Joe. How about that? How do you like that little humble pie right there?
I do like that little bit of humble pie. Second thing. Ezekiel Elliott is nowhere near the best running back in the league. Chris Walters just commented that. When you have a bus of people in front of you that are considered the best linemen in the NFL, you obviously are going to be a great running back. But with that being said, Le'Veon Bell doesn't have that. He has his skill, which Ezekiel Elliott, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to take that away from Ezekiel Elliott. He's a great running back. But with that, he's nowhere near in the same category as Le'Veon Bell. They have two different styles of running. Le'Veon Bell is a very patient runner. He doesn't, in football, you're taught, explode off the ball, hit the hole and you hit that hole as hard as you can. Where in Le'Veon Bell's situation, he's a very patient runner.
Yeah.
You can actually him bounce from gap to gap as he's deciding on which gap to shoot. Matter of fact, his running style actually held him back in the draft because coaches weren't too sure if his running style was right for the NFL.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, Le'Veon Bell, in my opinion, is one of the best running backs I've ever seen on paper, in action, and in history. And give him more time, and he will show you that he is going to be one of the best. He's going to be one of the best running backs that ever was able to touch the gridiron.
I agree. He reads his blocks. He can break tackles. He's elusive. He can catch the ball. He's everything you want, and not even just a running back, but just a football player in general.
Absolutely.
But you know what? You know what's crazy? We were talking about Franco Harris when we started talking about the Steelers. He's like another Franco Harris. He is like the epitome of what the Steelers want in a running back. Where, they're in the 70s, they had Franco Harris. He was catching passes. He had the immaculate reception. They were winning Super Bowls. Well, now they got Le'Veon Bell, and here you go. You got your guy back. Yeah, I would agree. He's going down. He's going down, and he's going to go down in history as one of the greats. But let's talk about real quick before we switch the subject. I want to talk about what Antonio, because we're on the Steelers. This is a Steelers day. Antonio Brown, man, what he just had his fifth consecutive game with, what was it? Oh, I'm sorry, fifth consecutive season with 100 catches. Jerry Rice, the all-time leader in touchdowns, yards, and catches, has not even done that. What does that tell you about Antonio Brown?
So, first and foremost, I have never, and the way I look at football is I look at skill, I look at talent, I look at catchability and things like that. And I have to say this, when I'm watching Antonio Brown on the football field, he is by far my favorite player of all time. And Antonio Brown, what he does on that football field is nothing short of a miracle. It's actually quite beautiful when you actually take into respect what Antonio Brown does, because his skill level is unmatched by any other wide receiver. Like, if you think that Julio Jones and Antonio Brown are in the same wide receiver class, then you're sadly mistaken. With that being said,
who did you say? Antonio Brown and who else?
Julio Jones.
What? Listen.
Julio Jones has nothing on it.
Listen, here's what I got to say about that, because this topic gets brought up all the time, because Julio Jones, okay, here's what I say about Julio Jones. Comparing Julio Jones and Antonio Brown is kind of like comparing Randy Moss and Jerry Rice. All right, and here's why. Before you say what, let me explain why. Jerry Rice is the all-time leader, like I said, in touchdowns, catches, and yards. He also has the Super Bowl rings to back up why he's one of the greatest players of all time. However, with that being said, have you watched Randy Moss? Did you see the stuff he used to do on the field? I say Randy Moss was a better receiver just as a player, his size, his speed, what he can do with his hands. All right, so back to Antonio Brown and Julio Jones. If I wanted to pick one of those players I put on my team, I'm taking Julio Jones all day. All right. Statistically, Antonio Brown is destroying him. He's having a way better career. But Julio Jones is the entire package. He gets triple covered, double covered. Antonio Brown is part of an offense that is spread out. The Falcons like to run the ball. They're not just the passing team like they used to be. The Falcons are running the ball a lot. I mean, so are the Steelers, don't get me wrong, but a different offense, whereas a lot of the attention in the Atlanta offense goes right to Julio. But Yeah,
Did
you can make the argument statistically Antonio Brown's destroying him, but if you just take their measurables, what they can do, their talent, Julio Jones, man, is just he's the cream of the crop when it comes to wide receivers.
Did you just try to tell me that Antonio Brown, you would choose Julio Jones over Antonio Brown?
Yeah, all day long. He's got the size. What about in the red zone? You got Julio Jones is a red zone threat. He's got speed. He's elusive. He's got crazy hands. He's tough.
You are absolutely, utterly insane. I feel bad. I mean, I would love to play you in fantasy. That's all I have.
I'm in the championship. How are you doing?
I was in the championship until my elite receiver got it tore his calf.
Oh, I'm in the championship. I'll play you anytime. Let's do a one-on-one this weekend. Let's do a one-on-one this weekend in FanDuel. You down?
I would be more than willing to go.
All right, sounds good. No, but I mean, listen. I get what you're saying. If you put the numbers next to each other, fantasy-wise, of course, Antonio Brown's a better player. But I'm talking about get on the field and watch the two play. Julio Jones getting triple covered is just a freak out there. Look, if you took Antonio Brown and Julio Jones and put them on the same team with the same quarterback, and you put one guy, let's say you had two Patrick Petersons, right? Put one Patrick Peterson on Julio, the other Patrick Peterson on Antonio Brown. My bet is that Julio Jones has a better game. I'm just saying. I think he's a better player talent-wise. I think Antonio Brown is being he's put in a system that's letting him thrive. So all kudos to him. I'm not taking anything away from his talent, but I think Julio, at the end of the day, Julio has more talent. I'm not, he's not doing better, he's not playing better, but he's got more talent, in my opinion.
You are a disgusting human being.
How do you say that? Do you watch Julio Jones? Do you see what he did when he had 300-something yards or 280 yards the other game, a couple weeks ago?
Are you kidding me? Against the Ravens. Let me put it to you like this. Against the Ravens, a team that has the
Ravens are like second in fantasy defenses in the league right now.
Shut up. The Ravens have fewest yards per toss, per throw, and they've allowed fewest fantasy points in the NFL. Ben Roethlisberger and Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown didn't even get into the end zone, and he had 20 points. Ben Roethlisberger threw for over 500 yards, and Antonio Brown was the main receiver on that team at that time.
Listen, listen, I get what you're saying. I get where you're coming from, because at the end of the day, fantasy football is a good measuring stick just for stats, but it's not the end-all, be-all. Antonio Brown's the better fantasy player. In real life, though, and there's a difference. There's a big difference. When you got a receiver like Julio Jones, who's 6'3", 200 pounds, and he's a red zone threat, you got defenses are going to triple cover him all day. That gives Devontae Freeman. What did Devontae Freeman do on?
That defense is cover Antonio Brown all day. Are you trying to tell me that right here?
Yeah, they cover him, but you know who else gets open all the time? Martavius Bryant gets open. They got Juju Smith-Schuster. You know what I mean? They spread out the ball a little bit, whereas I think they focus more. I think, in my opinion, the Falcons are more.
Compare Ben Roethlisberger to Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan spreads the ball out all the time. You got Gabriel. You got Mohamed Sanu. You got Julio Jones. Those are all great receivers. And then you got Devontae Freeman, who can catch the ball in the backfield, and Coleman. You got him as well, who can catch the ball in the backfield. So don't sit here and tell me that those two offenses don't compare, because they can. Matt Ryan can sling that ball just as good as Ben Roethlisberger.
All right. I feel that argument. But I mean, at the end of the day, I'm looking at the size. I'm looking at size too. I'm looking at red zone efficiency. I think Julio has the edge on that one. But Antonio Brown's got the speed. He's got the he's got the hands. All right, whatever.
Anytime you want to discuss this, I'd be more than happy to give you some, executive knowledge on the sport of Antonio Brown.
All right, you got it. Let's see what we got going in the chat right now. Anything?
We got a lot of stuff. A lot of people are like flipping out because you said Julio Jones.
I don't know, man. Everyone looks to fantasy as like it's the end-all, be-all. It's the only measuring stick there is to see how good the player is. There's plenty of players who are amazing who don't put up as many fantasy points. But all right, you know what? I'll give you that one.
Fantasy means nothing in real life. At the end of the year, do you think? Let me put it to you like this: Do you think that when Peyton Manning had a shit game and he threw for 20 points or for 10 points and he ended up winning the game, do you think he gave a shit what his fantasy score was at the end of the day? No, fantasy is not an accurate measure of a player. But with that being said, nobody can touch Antonio Brown. He's the number one wide receiver in the NFL right now.
All right, I got you.
That's stats. Number 5.
That's a fact.
Thank you. Thank you.
I can't deny you on that. That's a fact, Antonio Brown right now is killing it. What about, do you think all right, so we were talking about Antonio Brown versus Julio Jones. What about the Houston Texans receiver?
Hopkins?
Yeah, DeAndre Hopkins is putting up crazy numbers, just as much, man. He's up there. Can't take him out of the...
Let me put it to you like this. DeAndre Hopkins is going to be a number 2 or number 3 elite wide receiver when Deshaun or Watson gets back.
Yeah, he still is, even without him.
Yeah, but his game is severely crippled without Deshaun Watson.
You know what? It has gone down a little bit, but when Deshaun Watson got hurt, all the experts like Matthew Berry and all of them were all like, DeAndre Hopkins is going to go down to a wide receiver 2 now, so just look out for that. Hell no. He's been a wide receiver 1 all day long. But I will admit, he has been hindered. He's gone from averaging like 25 points a game to maybe 18, 17, but still, that's still wide receiver 1 numbers all day long.
Oh, what about Will Fuller? Will Fuller was, when he came back off his injury, Will Fuller was on top of that shit, man. He was putting up fantasy points insane with Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson and Will Fuller and DeAndre Hopkins were killing it. If you had that pair in fantasy football, you were more likely to take your week with just them 3 playing than your whole team. But again, it's the same thing like I like to say for the Bills. If you don't got a gunslinger, you ain't going to score touchdowns. End of story.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you got that. You got that one right. Let's move on to the next topic, all right? You want to talk about this tax plan real quick?
We could. It's up to you. What do you think so far?
Well, I got a quick 1-minute video of Trump, his response to the media about this tax plan. It's got some Christmas stuff in it, so let's take a look at that real quick. Just give me 1 second. I don't want that to. I don't want it to glitch, so let me just set it up so it's ready to go. And yeah, before that last video I showed you, sorry about that glitch, but I think I can fix it real quick. All right, ready? Here it is. And we got a glitch again. Sorry about that. Here we go.
Companies are coming in. They're pouring into the country. They've already started. And this will be great for jobs. It'll be fantastic for the middle-income people and for jobs. This is going to bring money in. As an example, we think $4 trillion will come flowing back into the country. That's money that's overseas, that's stuck there for years and years. It was $2.5 trillion, then it was $3.5. It's probably over $4 trillion. We have a tremendous spirit for the tax reform. This is going to be one of the great Christmas gifts to middle-income people. The Democrats have their, the soundbite, the standard soundbite, before they even know what the bill is all about. They talk about for the wealthy. This is going to be one of the great gifts to the middle-income people of this country that they've ever gotten for Christmas.
All right, so there you have it. Trump just claimed that this tax plan is going to be one of the greatest gifts to the middle class in history of America. Joe, what do you think about that?
So here's what I'm going to say. I think that this tax plan is going to be a great thing. I think that the liberal media can't see a good thing when it hits them in the face. And I think that lowering they got a chat going on their own of the Star Wars movie.
It's all right. That's what this podcast is for. It's for the people to enjoy themselves and just kick it.
With that being,
just kick it.
I think
you guys, listen. If you guys are here kicking it, that's fine with me. That's fine with me. I respect that. You know what I mean?
I don't. I need you to pay attention to what I'm saying.
Don't listen to Joe.
All right, I'm only here for a limited time. With that being said, I think the tax.
Oh, you know what though, Joe? Real quick, my bad to cut you off. Real quick, I do want to talk about Star Wars, but go ahead.
I think the tax plan is great. I think that it's going to bring a lot of jobs back to the middle class. I think with lowering the corporate tax bracket, that's going to bring more employers from overseas back to the gate to the United States of America. I think with that opening up the gates and more corporate tax lowered, you're going to have more employment. The economy is booming right now. Liberals are going crazy, which is always a good thing. And I'm very happy that he finally was able to get rid of the tax fine that you have to pay when you don't have health insurance.
So, when I looked into this tax plan, and first thing I heard was, I watched the news and read some media stuff online, and there's a lot of people saying that, it's only for the wealthy, that this is trickle-down economics, this is Ronald Reagan economics part 2. But I actually looked at the plan. It's big. There was no way I was going to read the whole thing. But I was able to skim through it and take a look at it. Anybody with income is going to get a tax break. Anybody. So if you have a job at McDonald's, you're going to save some money. You're going to get a tax cut. Is it going to be some crazy amount where you're going to be able to write off, whatever? No. But at the end of the day, this is conservative politics right here in its finest form. This is where I hope the best for this, because George Bush did some stuff like this too, but then he just upped the military spending. So what I'm hoping to see is I'm hoping that Trump and the Republicans, they stick with this plan, but they don't up their government spending too, because just because we have just because you're cutting taxes for people who have income doesn't mean it's okay to, just start spending money on other things. Especially if you cut taxes, it's worse to start spending. But that's really much all I got.
And another thing too is, a lot of people will consider this as Trump's first accomplishment, and I just wanna throw this out here, okay? Trump is, in my opinion, and I had to do a lot of research on this, and I had to listen to what I was saying and think about this before I came out and actually said this. Trump is a genius, okay? You sit here and laugh, but Trump is an absolute and utter genius. And I'm going to tell you why.
Go ahead. Please tell us.
Right. This guy has to be...
Oh, we just lost 2 people. No, I'm just joking.
This guy has to be the best magician I have ever seen in my life. Okay? On one hand, he sends out a tweet, right? Offends all the liberal media, offends all these people, right? So the news media is like sharks. You know, they're like a cat with that little fur toy, you know, that they go after and they kind of knit at it. And they attack that one thing, and they do it for days and days and days and days. And then on the other hand, while the liberal media is away on that stupid tweet that he sent out calling that person fat or that person ugly or defending an attack that he was personally attacked, he's making deals and we have no idea about it. None whatsoever, because the media is not reporting that. And it's great because for the first time in American society, we have a president that is actually smarter than the media and the electorate itself. And you have to believe this because, Neil, there's no other way that this guy could get away with what he gets away with. Let me put it to you, a better way to explain this is sleight of hand. You know, you're watching this card trick, and then over here, he's making the trick work. You know what I mean? So we have no idea what is actually, let me tell you this, Andrew Kelly, the government has been making deals before you were behind, without you even knowing it, before you were even a thought in your parents' mind. Let me tell you that right now. That's how government runs. You're never going to know what deals they're making until the deal is done.
Yeah, but you mean transparency. I mean, you can always push for transparency at the end of the day.
You have to assume, Andrew, that the person that you elect is making the deals on your behalf. That is called a republic.
I want to touch on what you said about him being a genius. I mean, I wouldn't go that far. I will say he's not as dumb as people think, and I think he's good at putting the right people in the right places. He's also a master troll, all right? I'm not going to say he's a genius. I'm going to say he's a master troll. He knows how to push people's buttons, especially the media, to get people talking about certain things. I don't even know if he does it on purpose sometimes. Like, for example, when he tweeted about transgenders in the military, everybody was talking about it. It became, for the whole week, became the topic of discussion. And it actually, what it did was it put a light on that issue right there. But see, I don't know if he did that on purpose. If he did, then you could be right. I wouldn't give him that much credit, but he does that kind of stuff all the time. He'll talk about the borders. He'll talk about crime. He'll talk about, whatever. And he gets people talking about it. He gets the media talking about it. He gets the media all flustered, and then people get tired of that. So maybe he's a master troll. I'll give him that. That's as far as I'll go.
That's fine. You're entitled to your opinion, but I promise you this much. Donald Trump just passed the biggest tax reform since Ronald Reagan without a single Democratic vote in the House of in the House of Representatives and the Senate, the United States Senate. That is done with pure and utter genius attached to it.
I mean, yeah, he did that, and that's I agree. I don't think that's a bad thing. I believe in lowering taxes and cutting government. The government now is like, I don't know, I want to say a third smaller than it was under Obama, maybe even more. Those things I like. I will never sit here and say that those aren't good things, in my opinion. But, to cut taxes doesn't take a genius to do. It takes someone who believes in that kind of thing. But I wouldn't go as far as say, oh, he cut taxes, now he's a genius. But whatever. I mean, yeah, I'm with you. I'm okay. I'm happy with it.
It's not about him cutting taxes. It's not about him.
Hey, Joe, I got a question for you. We got a comment in the questions, or a question in the comments. Why do you think Trump's better than any other politician?
I don't think Trump's better than any other politician.
Okay.
I think that he's brilliant. I think the best politician that we have ever had, ever in the history of the United States, has to either be Abraham Lincoln, JFK, or Ronald Reagan. Those are my three favorites. The reason why I loved Abraham Lincoln is because Obama was a great orator, but Abraham Lincoln, he could talk your socks off. He could sell a ketchup popsicle to a woman in white gloves. Abraham Lincoln was able to unite this country when it was falling apart at its most terrifying moment in history. Okay, that's number one. JFK, the things he did for civil rights, the things he did for the NASA program, and things like that, he was a great president. And and another thing too is JFK would be considered a Republican in today's standards. He had a lot of conservative views. He would not have a place in the Democratic Party. And then Ronald Reagan, I mean, what can't you say about that guy? That's great.
You know what? I'm glad you brought up Ronald Reagan because it has a lot to do with right now, right? So we had this huge tax cut, and everybody. When you bring up Reaganomics, right? Trickle down economics. The first thing most people say is, "Oh, that's crazy. It didn't work. It didn't work." And you know what? They could be right. Maybe it didn't work. Maybe it was too beneficial for the rich and not beneficial for the middle and lower class. All right, you got that. But at the end of the day, you can't deny that during the 80s and the early 90s, America had one of its best economies ever. You could go to any bank and get a loan. Everybody had money. Obviously not everybody had money, but people who lived in that era, most people I know who lived in that era will say that the 80s was the time to be in America. It was a time where it was easy to get a car, it was easy to get a job, it was easy to get a loan, easy to buy a house. Maybe it could have caused bubbles here and there, but I'm not saying Reaganomics was the reason all that was going down, but you know what I'm saying? The two might have to be able to coincide. You know what I mean?
Here's my thing. A lot of people believe that the economic system under Obama was profitable and he was a great president. Let me tell you something. When you raise taxes on the middle class and you raise corporate taxes on the upper class, how do you expect money to trickle down? How do you expect money to circulate if nobody has any money?
You got a point.
Right? So you took our paycheck. Now you took away our job creation machine. And then on top of that, you fined us for not having health insurance when we couldn't afford health insurance in the first place. So then in comes Trump and he lowers the corporate tax, takes some pressure off the middle class, and then he also removes the fine from Obamacare. With that being said, you just lifted so much weight on the back of the middle class. And let me tell you another thing too is, it's not the upper class. It's not the big business that stimulates the economy. The backbone of the American economy is the middle class.
Yeah.
So without the middle class, a strong middle class, you're always going to have a weak economy. So when the middle class is suffering, the economy will always be weak.
Yeah, at the end of the day, the middle class is the one. We're the ones who pay the taxes, and we're the ones who work for the people in the upper class. So without the middle class, the middle class is like the engine for the economy. Without the middle class, nothing happens. So I like what you said. I mean, if our bosses don't have money to pay us, give us raises, if they don't have a little bit of wiggle room, what are we gonna have? Also with I hate to sound like I'm like all for like giving breaks to people who have a lot of money, but also if you're somebody who strives for being all you could be in this country, like become a millionaire and have your own business, at the end of the day, those are the type of things you're looking at. You want your politicians to push for you. I mean, you'll be able to hire more people. You can, get away with more stuff. It's just, it blows my mind when I see people get so bent out of shape about helping wealthy Americans. like it's like some evil thing. It's like the evil thing, you know. Why are we helping people with, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, who's creating these jobs? That's what you got to look at. Who's going to be there to give you a job if you need it? You know, or who's going to be paying taxes? That's what you got to look at.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. Anything else you want to touch on that?
I mean, I just hope that, there's a lot that goes into the tax plan. I hope that there's more to come in the years to come. And I hope that this isn't the only place where he stops. I hope he continues to lower taxes and follows through with his plan on lowering taxes for the middle class. He has to get us lower than what we're paying now if he wants to see real economic growth. I mean, it is incredible the amount of economic growth that he's getting as of right now. But if he were to lower if he were to break that stick a little bit less over the middle class's back, he would see unprecedented economic growth like we've never seen before.
Yeah.
Your middle class is, let me explain this to you. Your middle class is people who go out and buy $40,000 cars when they can only afford $30,000 cars. Your middle class is the people that want the shiny new gadgets like the iPhone 10 or the iPhone X. Your middle class is people sending their kids to private schools when they really don't need to. They can go to a public school. Your middle class is the one that always spends a little bit above what they can earn for those extra nice things. Your upper class is the ones that hoard their money. So you want your middle class to be spending like crazy. And
yeah,
if you lower taxes, you will see unprecedented growth in the United States of America.
All right, yeah. So I got a quick video I want to show. It's the next topic. So I want to talk. We're not going to talk a little bit. We're going to go really quick on this one, but I want to talk about the opiate epidemic again. Not today, but coming up soon in this season. But I want to show some people what happened not too long ago with Jeff Sessions, because Jeff Sessions is talking about his plan to crack down on this opiate epidemic is to crack down on weed, because weed's a gateway drug. So let me show you a quick 1-minute video real quick, and then we'll talk about it.
Marijuana is not as dangerous as heroin. Would you agree with that?
I think that's correct.
Well, thank you, sir. I would hope that in your enforcement that you would look at the limitations you've got. There's always an opportunity cost, and put your opportunity cost, your enforcement on crack, on cocaine, on meth, on opioids, and on heroin. Marijuana is the least bothersome of all. 28 states or 29 states in the District of Columbia have legalized it for medical purposes. 8 states in the District of Columbia for recreational purposes. Justice Brandeis famously said that the states are the laboratories of democracy. I would hope you'd look at marijuana and look at the states as laboratories of democracy and see how they've helped. In states where they've got medical marijuana, they have 25% less opioid use. It gives people a way to relieve pain without using opioids, which inevitably leads to death and crime. And so I would hope you take a look at that.
We will take a look at it, and we'll be looking at some rigorous analysis of the marijuana.
Okay, so I wanted to show that video because I liked how that was handled. All right? Now, I forgot the guy's name who was grilling Jeff Sessions right there. But what he did is what politics is all about, right? So you got a problem with somebody in politics, somebody like Jeff Sessions, who's very high up. He's the Attorney General for the whole entire United States, and he's got a lot of power, a lot of pull, and you don't like something about what he's doing, right? So instead of whining in the media or trying to discredit his entire person, him as a person, what he did was he got in front of him, got behind the mic, and said, hey, here's the facts. If you crack down on marijuana, this is what will happen. Now, look at these states right here where marijuana is legal, and look at opiate use is down. There you go. That's all I want to tell you. So, Jeff Sessions, take a look at those numbers. I hope you factor that in when you make your decisions. And look what happened. Look how Jeff Sessions responded, was like, yeah, you know what? I'll take a look at it. Who knows if he actually will, but you got your point across. You know what I mean? And that video went viral, by the way. That video is all over the internet. So I just like how that was handled. Joe, what do you think? I don't know if you got to catch that video. Did you see it at all?
No, I didn't. And, you know how I feel about drugs in general.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think about that being a way of, countering people in government and politics that you disagree with? Instead of saying, oh, Jeff Sessions and discrediting him as a person, you tell them, give him some facts and tell them to look at that stuff. What do you think about that, at least?
I think presenting facts is always a better way than assaulting somebody's character.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to touch on that. I think we'll get into that topic a little bit later. But I want to end the show, and the chat's been very good today. We got a lot of views. Thank you, everybody, for watching. But I want to end the show on, Joe, what is going on with all these allegations left and right? People in Hollywood, people in politics, people in music. All of a sudden, women are coming out the woodwork, whether it was last week, 2 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, next week. All this, I didn't, what do you know what I'm talking about? What's going on with this?
I wish I could tell you, buddy. I really do. I mean, I really wish I could sit here and tell you that, I knew what was going on, because I don't. I really don't. It is just absolutely insane. It is crazy to be a part of this century. This is the greatest craziness I've ever seen in my life. And I enjoy every minute of it.
Yeah, you know what? Here's what I want to say about this, right? So, a lot of people are pretty mad about if a woman comes out and alleges that someone, sexually harassed them, that automatically this guy gets fired, loses his job, loses his credibility, loses his family, and I can see where people are coming from in that sense. But in another light, I do think what's going on right now is going to end up in the long run as a positive thing. And let me tell you why. The children are the most important people in any society. That's the future of a society. So kids right now who are watching the news and seeing, whoever it is, Al Franken or Harvey Weinstein or, whoever it might be, is in the news right now. They lost their career, and their life, is going down the tubes, and with just allegations, right? We don't know if it's true or not. Now, I'm not saying none of this is true, but I mean, some of it might not be true. It might all be true. It might none of it be true. The point I'm trying to make is when our young people in this country see where this is going, I think in their lives they're going to think twice. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that this is something you could just get away with anymore. So, like I said, I do. If someone's innocent, I feel totally terrible that they would have to go through something like that. But if they are guilty, that's what they deserve. America is not a rape culture. I don't care what feminists say. America is not a rape culture. You go to jail for rape, you're going to have a terrible time in there. They're not going to treat you like a lesser human being. But people who commit sexual harassment at the workplace or at a job, or because you got a lot of money, and because you're Harvey Weinstein, you're a producer, no longer is that something people are going to be able to get away with anymore. And I think in the end of the day, that's going to be a positive thing. But yeah, I mean, I can see why people would be like second guessing all this. Like, why are people losing their jobs over allegations? Shouldn't we see if it's true first? I mean, what do you think about that?
I do agree, man. I do agree. I mean, like I said, I'm really not paying too much attention to all those sexual allegations. It's not my thing. I could care less, to be honest with you. But as far as I'm concerned, I do understand where you're coming from. It's the children that are going to be impacted by the actions of the adults.
Yeah. Damn, I really had a good time at this. I'm glad season 2 is back in full swing. We're gonna try to come out with weekly podcasts. Might even be tonight, Tuesday nights might be good.
The first of the year after New Year's will be our regular weekly show.
All right, you guys heard it. You guys heard it here first. The first of the year is going to be the start of our regular weekly shows. We're going to have more planned out stuff, more videos, more stuff. We want to get some guests. One of the biggest things I want to do for this season is I want to have, if I could, get a guest for every single show. So me, Joe, and somebody else every single show. If I can do that, I'll be happy. I want to get as many guests as possible. I don't care who it is. Talk about your job as a concrete guy. Come on in. Let's do it. I want to get everyone involved. I want to do this thing. I want to have some good conversations. I want to talk about trending topics. Anything that's big, I don't care what it is. If it's interesting, we're going to talk about it. But you know what's crazy, Joe, is usually right by now, after doing this for an hour, usually the chat's dead. Our chat is destroying right now. We got 9 people watching right now. This is big. So I hate to go, but it is getting late. So we do got to get going. Joe and I both have to work in the morning. So, Joe, last thoughts?
My last thoughts. Be better than the best. And don't be afraid to fail.
All right. Everybody out there, stay smart.